Compared to the start of the pandemic. A similar proportion of the over 60s also told a poll by Age UK that they were living in more physical pain. The charities warned over the pressure on NHS and social care services over the coming years. Two women have been seriously injured by a falling tree in Suffolk. It came down during heavy winds in the Ulverston area yesterday evening at what's believed to have been a private outdoor party. The US gymnast Simone Biles has withdrawn from another two finals at the Tokyo Olympics. She's ruled herself out of the vault and uneven bars events as she tries to protect her mental health. Team GB are now on 8 gold medals at the Games after gaining another 2 overnight. In the pool, Adam Peaty led the 4x100 metres mixed medley team to victory. Sky reporter Tom Parmenter, who's in Japan, was watching the inaugural event.
What a race it was. A new event in the Olympics, a mixed medley, so you have 2 guys and 2 girls going for it. So the tactics are really interesting. Who do you set off on the first leg? What point do you play Adam Peaty? So all sorts going on in that race, and Team GB come away with a world record and gold medals around their neck.
Elsewhere, the triathlon mixed relay team took the gold, with Johnny Brownlee claiming his first Olympic title. GB are also in gold medal position in eventing, while the women's rugby sevens team go for bronze against Fiji later, and boxer Lauren Price is guaranteed at least bronze. And today's weather, some sunshine, but also showers becoming more widespread. They'll be most frequent and heavy over eastern, central and southern England, with some thunderstorms possible later. Drier and brighter in the north and west, a high of 22 degrees. From Global's newsroom, I'm Simon Conway.
It's time to sparkle with Pandora. For a limited time only, spend £59 and get a free charm worth up to £30. Show someone special that you're thinking of them, or take the chance to treat yourself. But hurry, this offer won't be around for long. Available online and in participating stores while stocks last. Ends Monday the 2nd of August. Terms and exclusions apply.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Andrew Castle.
And a very good morning to you. It's 3 minutes past 7. Andrew Castle with you. It's the 31st of July, the last day of July. It hasn't felt like it at all, has it? And the weather not particularly picking up. So if you are on a staycation, because that's pretty much all that's available just at the moment, I hope you're managing to grin and bear it. Perhaps it'll pick up next week. Right, let's talk about these vaccine passports. No jab, no job. Some people might say that this is discriminatory, that nobody, especially perhaps not the government, should be allowed to force you to, in effect, medicate yourself. On the other hand, what about protecting others in the workplace? Where do you stand on vaccine passports? 345 6060 973 is the way to get in touch. It's not the only thing that we're going to talk about this hour. We'll certainly take a business update. I'll go through the front pages as well. We're off to Australia to see what they're doing with the military on the streets. But isn't it remarkable where we are? Some 18 months on from the beginning of this whole thing.
Keep right.
And we're talking about you can't come back to work unless you have 2 jabs, or you have proof of a negative lateral flow test every single day. Is this proportionate? Is it an overreaction? Is it necessary? In your view, is it something that you can live with? Or have you just, rather like me, just said, oh God, whatever. Just let's get back to something like normal. Do you feel that the state is encroaching into your life by insisting, not making it law, by the way, but saying that it's okay for employers, for instance, to say you've got to be double jabbed? Are you all right with that? A bit like me, have you given up? Let me know. So let's put it out. From James Goodison, LBC's reporter, he's got some details. Hi, James.
Andrew, good morning. Coronavirus rules have eased to the largest extent since the pandemic began, and the tension is once more turning to the policing of COVID in normal life. Verification of vaccination is the main pillar of discussion, both for entry to certain venues and returning to the workplace. Let's start with the former, as there are concerns around vaccine passports, a controversial topic which for some is seen as a necessity for countering COVID in an open up society, and by others as discriminatory and an unnecessary attack on liberty. The NHS app for a time now has allowed people to show their vaccination status, usually for foreign travel or a government test events, but there is concern over some changes that has led to accusations of vaccine passports being added by stealth, namely that the app now has a domestic section which tells people they may need to show the pass at places that have chosen to use the service. Now, the government said it wants to use them for entry into nightclubs from September, and it's reported they could be used for Premier League matches when they return too. It's also worth noting that in France there's been a huge surge in jab bookings after the government there announced that you need to have both jabs to do certain things. There has been a vote promised around this, but these changes to the app have raised fears amongst dissenting MPs, both in the Tory party and beyond. Another potential headache on the horizon for the government is over companies and their stance on vaccination.
say, oh, you can't work for the next 2 months until you've got your appointment, or you can't go out and interact with your friends, or whatever it might be, until you've had your booster appointment. It's going to create a really two-tiered society going forward, and that's something I can't tolerate.
Much appreciate your time. Thank you, Greensman Conservative for remarking. And last word to you, Daniel Kaczynski. Should students, if we are looking to protect people, should students be forced to be double jabbed or show a negative lateral flow test just to attend university classes in person?
Well, I think we have seen recently on the media a spike, a significant increase in young people becoming infected with this disease and actually being more poorly as a result of getting it.
Is that a yes, Dan?
Yes, it's yes.
So you would say that because there's going to be a lot of pushback from that. An awful lot of people feel, well, absolutely not. The young are barely affected compared to older age groups, and that's why the cohorts were vaccinated in the manner in which they were and in the order in which they were. So university students, in order to attend university in person, halls of residence and lecture halls should be double jabbed, and they should have to prove it.
I think it's very, very, very important that they are double jabbed, and I think the state should be doing everything possible to encourage that. It's a safe environment for them and everybody else.
So if they say no, I'm not going to be double jabbed, thank you, for whatever reason, and we can go down a rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, then we're going to need more than 3 hours this morning. But they should be denied a university education if they're not double jabbed. That's a pretty tough argument.
Well, as I've said already, I think that in my discussions with constituents here in Shrewsbury, I think the members of Parliament have to react to their mailbags. I think the overall impression that I'm getting from my constituents is that people now want and expect a return of working lives to get the economy up and running and to take advantage of this vaccine program to get the country moving again. I think we all have a huge responsibility to play our part, and that includes students as well.
Okay, much appreciate your time. Very kind and answer as well. Daniel Kaczynski, Conservative Whip for Shrewsbury and Angela, where do you stand on vaccine passports, potentially going to work, going to a theatre performance, going to a pub, going to a restaurant, just being a part of society? Are you going to have to be double jabbed? Do you accept the fact that you're going to have to be double jabbed in order to enjoy the fruits of the society you live in? That is a fundamental change. Some of you might see it as a violation of rights. Or do you see it as something that you just sort of given up on now and you're rather apathetic about it? Let's just get going again. This was never going to happen, was it? We were told specifically there wouldn't be vaccine passports. Is this just a national ID card by another name? Let's answer that question. 0345 6060 973. And what's going on down under? Australia has deployed hundreds of soldiers in Sydney to help this enforced lockdown after an outbreak of the Delta variant. Here's former Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard.
Clearly, there have been a series of very profound problems with getting vaccinations out, and with the Delta strain and how infectious it is, with low vaccination rates, that obviously spells a lot of trouble.
And Brisbane has just had a tiny amount of cases, and they've locked the whole city down. I'll get you more details on that after the news headlines with Simon Conway.
The Equalities Watchdog has warned employers to be proportionate over the use of mandatory vaccination policies. The US gymnast Simone Biles has withdrawn from another 2 finals at the Tokyo Olympics over her mental health. And Team GB have won another 2 gold medals in swimming and triathlon team events. The weather, a mixture of sunshine and showers, which could be thundery in places, a high of 22 degrees.
LBC Travel, I'm Anne-Marie Walsh. Delays expected on the M4. It's closed both ways between Junction 8 for Maidenhead and 6 at Slough. Weekend roadworks is expected to reopen in the early hours of Monday morning. On the M25 anti-clockwise, the inside lane is closed between Junction 24 for Potters Bar and 23 at South Mims. That's for emergency repairs. In Wimbledon, the A3 is closed northbound between the Combe Lane flyover and Robin Hood because of an accident. And on the tube, severe delays on the Jubilee and Piccadilly line and minor delays on the Victoria and the Central line.
This is
after losing weight himself, became a qualified nutritionist and started Mellow Frog, a business helping others with their wellness. Nailing payroll, smashing invoices and winning at tax returns. Sage helps you boss it. Your small business could be on the radio. Plus you could win a new laptop, smartphone and a year's subscription to Sage Accounting. Enter now at lbc.co.uk. Wi-Fi's down.
This is broadband rage. It happens when your internet drops out and the red mist descends. Why suffer like this? Get the UK's first unbreakable Wi-Fi. Only BT's new hybrid home broadband is backed up by EE's mobile network. One day all broadband will be like this.
4G coverage required. 4G connection takes up to 175 seconds. Verify bt.com/verify hybrid.
Comfort eating, little treating. Let's face it, lockdown left many of us carrying some extra pounds. But now's the time to turn things around. To shop smarter, eat better, and live more. Small changes can make all the difference. And getting started is easier than you think. For help and support to lose weight, download the free NHS weight loss app. Better health. Let's do this. If you're a freeholder or a right to manage company director, you'll know your sector never stops. So it's good to know that when your block is looked after by ABC Estates block management team, our family business will never stop looking after you. Service charge collections, we never stop. Insurance, we never stop. Proactive and reactive maintenance, we never stop. Full transparency, we never stop. Non-stop block management services from Aldermartin, Baines and Cuthbert. Call 0800 888 6688 or visit abcestates.co.uk. This is LBC with Andrew Castle. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
The army on the streets of Sydney has been closed down, or I believe it will be from this afternoon, for a handful of cases in Queensland. More details on Australia and COVID in just 1 second. I'm talking about COVID vaccine passports, proof to be double jabbed. You can't come to work unless you've been double jabbed, or you show a negative lateral flow test every day. This is such a medicalisation of society, isn't it? It is an erosion of your rights, or do you not see it that way? Do you think you're protecting others by going to work having been double jabbed? The Equality and Human Rights Commission says it understood firms will protect their staff and their customers by requiring employees to be vaccinated, but it advises them to take other factors into consideration. Well, what are they? Employers are right to protect their staff where people are at risk, such as care homes, but HRC requirements must be proportionate, non-discriminatory, and make provision for those who cannot be vaccinated for medical reasons. How many people can't be vaccinated for medical reasons? What is a medical reason in that way? Anyway, perhaps I'm getting lost in that one. What is proportionate? Requirements must be proportionate. Non-discriminatory, what does that mean? Yeah, there's going to be legal issues, I would imagine. Toby's in Wokingham. Hello, Toby, good morning.
Morning, Andrew. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks, Toby. What do you think about vaccine passports in effect? I mean, this is where we're headed, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm dead against any form of certification as well. I think it makes for a really ugly two-tier society. But just on employers specifically, it's not the job of employers to remove every single ounce of risk that an employee can face. It's their job to put in safe working practices related to the equipment you use to do your job, or things like manual handling, those kind of things. But it's not the job of them to create a sterile work environment and wrap their workers in cotton wool where they're absolutely safe. No ounce of normal risk that we accept in life. I think as well, it's also going to be extremely difficult for a lot of employers, where many people have worked from home, to mount a compelling case to say that they must go into the office, or that it's detrimental for their job if they don't, when they've been working from home for the full 18 months in most cases. So I think it will be very, very difficult to mount any case like that. But it's a really, really ugly two-tier society.
But Toby, safe working practices, you say that it's an employer